Welcome back to Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Wow, this really is a freezing tropical now.
Eh.
I love that little camera pan. Everyone's just minding their own business, just goofing off.
You know what? We need to find Elsa and get her to stop her terrible ways.
The snow kind of looks like sand, though.
I mean, kinda.
I mean, snow and sand are kind of similar in that they...
Cold sand.
Like, I mean, oh, I can't... You know what? It's not really coarse... Oh, it can be coarse depending on what kind of snow you get. Because you don't always get, like, white, fluffy snow. Sometimes you get, like, gross, terrible
You get
snow.
gray, nasty slush that just makes you hate all life.
Oh, God. People are like, oh, man, I love the winter. Snow is so pretty. And I'm like, okay, but if you live in an urban environment or even a suburban environment, that snow stays nice and white and pretty for maybe 30 minutes. As soon as the first plow comes by, it all gets pushed into the side of the road where it gets mushed up with the dirt and the crap from everyone's tires and becomes this gigantic, disgusting gray-black mess. Look at a parking lot in Boston in the winter, and you'll see gigantic, huge mounds of black snow that is gross and disgusting. And anybody who says winter is a beautiful season has not seen the reality of what winter looks like after, like, December 2nd or whatever.
Like 3 days after the first snowfall.
Not even that. Sometimes even the first day after the first snowfall, you know, once people are walking in it a little bit, and then whatever's on people's shoes, and it becomes, like, brown. And
It really does depend on where you live. Like, if you're out in a more country, suburban area, then snow can be pretty nice. But, like, for most people, the appeal of snow is mostly in snow days, and it's been a long ass time since any of us benefited from that.
I'm the bad guy in the kids' cartoon now, who whines at the kids who are enjoying the snow day. It's like, oh, you don't have to shovel. Yep, I'm the bad guy now.
Well, you know, I don't. It doesn't matter if you have to shovel for a few hours because that's significantly less time than your school day was gonna take. But like, now I'm an adult who has to drive through the snow when it happens.
Oh god, driving in the snow is terrifying. For the record, like,
Yep.
I wouldn't say it's terrifying, but like,
it depends on how bad it's snowing.
the scariest part about driving through the snow for me is that I feel like I'm the only fucking person on the road who knows how to drive through the snow properly.
You also, to be fair, you also live in New Jersey, which probably has the worst drivers in the planet. So,
Sometimes it feels that way, although it's like it's not as bad as living in a state where it never fucking snows and then nobody knows how to drive through the snow because they never do it.
yeah. One time I was, I forget what I was out for, but it had started snowing, and so I was trying to drive back home, and the snow was so bad that I couldn't see more than a couple of feet in front of me. And on roads that the speed limit's like 45 or higher, I had to go like 15 or so miles an hour because I just could not see or react. And that kind of thing is terrifying because you don't know when, you know, somebody is just not going to be driving safely and then won't be able to stop in time or that kind of thing. So, yeah.
I mean,
I just hate when it snows and all your damn snowbirds move down to Florida for the winter.
Oh, it must be like madness if it ever snows down there.
so
Because-
like all the
Dude, I live in Georgia, and it's
so
madness whenever it
during the
snows
winter
down
you
here.
get a lot of white stuff falling from the sky, but it ain't snow. Is what you're saying?
I mean, it is
No,
Florida.
it's old crusty people.
It is Florida, so that does make a good amount of sense.
Guess that explains why all the crusty people live in Florida. Yeah.
I mean, we are heaven's waiting room.
What?
Yeah, a lot of Floridians nickname Florida Heaven's Waiting Room because it's a retirement state.
Yeah, people keep going to Florida to retire. Yeah.
Yeah, but that also implies that people living in Florida are going to heaven.
Yeah.
How many rich old people do you think are going to heaven, huh?
In today's day and age, none.
One of my favorite afterlife things is the TV show The Good Place, where it's basically like the way that they do it is just like the sum mathematical total of your good deeds determines whether or not you go to the good place or the bad place, so basically heaven or hell. and there's like they say who ends up. It's just like the only U.S. president to ever be in the good place is Abraham Lincoln, and that's just because he ended slavery. So the mathematical value of ending slavery was enough to get him into the good place. But that's the only. It was like plus several billion points or something like that. So it's just like okay.
If that was the way it worked, that's probably how the math would end up.
Yeah, probably. So I think like it was something like chewing loudly was like -1 point or something like that or whatever. It's a really funny show. I do recommend giving it a watch.
It does kind of underline how frivolous that kind of logic would be for the afterlife, though.
Yeah, no, it makes fun of a lot of those kinds of things. Like I think it's not supposed to be any one particular afterlife, so they have a portrait up in one of the main guys like offices, like one of the main people who run the place's office, and it says closest guess, and it was this high guy from San Diego who like did a whole bunch of drugs and then just guessed the most accurate afterlife, and they just have like a picture of him for being the closest person to guess. And it's just a background detail in the rest of the show, so from that, because they don't ever bring it up again, but it's still there. So, I love it when TV shows do that kind of thing, where there's just like there's a running gag, but they don't really like mention it. It's just kind of there for you to notice.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that's still that vending machine is still broken or whatever.
A lot of comedy writing doesn't put enough faith in its audience, and they're like really ham-fisted in how they slam in the jokes that they're trying to make. But
I think it's easier to catch those kind of things now since we live in a binge-watching kind of culture where it's easier to remember those kinds of small jokes when you're watching the entire season at once.
Yeah,
versus
maybe.
when you have to wait every week to get it and stuff.
Yeah, fair enough. But like, what I'm talking about even extends to stuff that like doesn't need binge watching, like movies or whatever.
Oh yeah, no, that's true.
It's
But
like,
to be fair, the average American is very stupid.
I wish it were untrue. Okay, now we're doing some interesting stuff with ice. Is there a Titanic level?
Is
I mean-
the platform that you have to stand on too small for you to fit both Donkey and Diddy Kong on it, so you have to drop one of them in order to stay?
That isn't what I was referring to, but sure, maybe.
No, Rose, you have to go on without me. I can't fit on that door. No, Rose. Go on, remember me. Yep.
Man,
And then at the end of my life, when I have this really expensive-looking ring that my children and grandchildren could potentially use either as an heirloom or just for financial stability, I'm just gonna chuck it into the ocean.
yeah,
Yeah, because
the whole
well, she's rich. The value of money doesn't matter to her.
the whole Titanic thing is like, it all happened because the regulations were dumb, and the company that ran the ship was too cheap to have enough goddamn lifeboats on the ship. Like, if either of those things had been different, then it wouldn't have been such a big tragedy that we keep having like movies and games and stuff made about it. But
it's one of those things, I think, where they also were like, oh, this ship is an unsinkable ship, so since they had their heads up their asses about it, they didn't feel like they needed to have extra lifeboats because the ship won't sink anyway. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's a combination of like regulations about like the general state of the industry at the time. The regulations were not sufficient, but also the what could possibly go wrong mentality that fueled those lax regulations. So, yeah, it's basically just a big life lesson learned, and that's why everyone keeps thinking of the Titanic, because it was the day that society as a whole. You were about to go back for those bananas. weren't you?
No, I was trying to figure out how the platform was going to move to get the
We're
cat.
into the ugly gray snow stuff.
Oh yeah, basically, yeah. So it stays nice looking for a total of 1 level before it's disgusting.
2.
Like, the Titanic was a life lesson learned, and no one's ever going to forget it. And I'm glad for that, because, like...
Well, the what could possibly go wrong is why pilots aren't allowed to share the same meal on a plane.
Wait, really? Why?
Yeah. Because if one's tainted and a pilot gets sick, someone else needs to take over and fly the plane.
Yeah.
So if you both want the fish that day, you're just screwed?
Yeah,
One
someone
of
has
you,
to choose, someone has to choose
SOL.
something else.
I did not know that, but that's actually a good attention to detail. You know that only
Airplane literally parodies this.
you know that only happened though because that rule only exists because it happened once, though.
Yeah.
Is that both of them got food poisoning?
Sick.
You would think that after having so many of these situations where we had to learn a lesson the hard way, we would stop having to learn lessons the hard way, and we just use our natural intelligence, which we've evolved, to imagine possible wrong outcomes and predict possible wrong outcomes before they happen. But
That's
Well,
it.
no, the thing is, there's a survivorship bias thing because planes during World War II, when they were trying to figure out how to better armor them up for combat, they were looking at the planes that got back and where they were being shot. It's like, okay, maybe we should, bulk these things up. And then someone pointed out, it's like, no, they don't need bulking up. These are the planes that actually made it back. We should be arming the other places that don't have bullet holes because that's the places that got shot and they didn't come back.
Yeah. I was actually reading something about that earlier today.
Oh.
That exact same thing.
huh.
Did that end up working out or not?
More or less did, yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Well, if the space that didn't get shot is on the plane that came back, and then all the planes that didn't come back were probably shot there then.
Oh, 8-bit Donkey Kong.
Wait, where's there an 8-bit Donkey Kong?
In the background of that, right before he hit the goal.
Oh,
Also, isn't he holding Donkey Kong Jr.?
I think so.
Who is Donkey Kong Jr.? Is this Donkey
We
Kong
don't know.
Jr. Donkey Kong Jr.? Because that
No.
would go against Mario Tennis. But-
No, Donkey Kong Jr. is actually Cranky's son, which is this DK's dad.
Okay, so
We just haven't seen him in decades.
We just haven't seen him since Super Mario Kart? No, Mario
yeah,
Tennis.
okay, but in Mario Tennis, Donkey Kong Jr. looks younger than Donkey Kong. So does he just have eternal baby face? And
I don't know.
Why is it that protagonists in stories, and this is a weird context to bring it up in, why is it that protagonists in stories aren't often allowed to have, like, parents?
it's a tragic backstory.
No,
that's
it's
easy
not
to get
even.
with.
It's not even always a tragic thing. It's like their parents are just like absentee in their life for like completely mundane reasons that the character doesn't really care about. It's like, are you afraid that we won't be able to relate to a specific kind of parent-child relationship, so you're just not going to have one?
You know what? I think it's mostly just that how your parents raise you colors so much of your life that if you don't go into it, if you go into it, it makes your job as a writer much harder. So if you just say, "Oh, they don't have parents," people will just draw their own conclusions, and that's way easier because you don't have to do as much exposition.
I think everyone in the Donkey Kong fandom has agreed that Donkey Kong Jr. died at war over the bananas.
Oh, god damn it.
That would probably explain why Donkey Kong is so obsessed with the things. Because
His dad died a hero, god damn it.
he's too stupid to be the one who ends the cycle.
So, do you think that Donkey Kong Jr. was, like, joined voluntarily in the Great Banana War, or do you think he was drafted?
Probably drafted.
Oh, okay. But then Donkey Kong hears these stories about his dad being a great war hero and doesn't think about the psychological toll the Great Banana War placed on his father. Who's Donkey Kong's mom? That's the important question.
That's another thing that
Mama Peach.
that's another thing that amuses me in fiction. If a protagonist is allowed to have parents, Then it's probably only one parent.
Well, and by all accounts, he also has an aunt and uncle we don't know about either, because Funky's his cousin.
Uh-huh.
And we don't even really know what Diddy's relationship is. Are they nephew? Is it father-son? Is it best friend? Maybe? Yes? All three?
There's only one true little buddy.
And then you've got Chunky and Kitty Kong that are brothers, and Dixie and Tiny Kong. And where the fuck did Lanky come from? He's just there.
Wait, hold on.
They picked up Lanky from a dumpster.
You know, they just felt too bad and didn't want to leave him there.
This level looks like a fucking clusterfuck.
Oh, it's a rocket barrel
It's-
level. What did you expect?
Yeah.
Also, I love the giant bat frozen in ice.
Yeah, that's a reference to Returns, which is a nice detail.
I do like the idea of going back through old levels if it's the same setting and
Yeah,
like seeing how they change.
each level on the final world, each level is based off of a world in Donkey Kong Country Returns, which is nice.
Yeah, that's a neat little detail.
I do like the idea of seeing old levels frozen over, yeah.
I feel
Because there was no ice level in Returns.
yeah, there wasn't. Now that I think
No.
about it, I don't think they even really had like anything like that. Now that I'm like not even like any like just like a ice level in a particular world. Like I don't think like there was a snowy level in the pine tree kind of stage or anything like that.
Which is weird because with Returns being based off of off of Donkey Kong Island, pretty sure in DKC1 there was an entire world based on ice.
Yeah.
Are you actually controlling the snowball?
Yes, you can jump.
Oh. I don't know how that works, but...
You see,
I mean,
I have bad memories with the ice level in DKC1 because that's where I stopped playing the game because I got too frustrated. Because
Yeah, that's the weirdest world because ultimately, the save point is way too far.
Oh,
into the
yeah,
world.
that
And the
was
first- and
halfway
the,
through
and the first,
the world.
Yeah, and the first two of the first three levels are surprisingly difficult.
yeah, that was the big problem is I kept on dying and getting game overs because I didn't know that there was like a life cheat code or anything like that. So it's just
Barrel.
like, yeah, but it's spelled wrong because there's no E button. Oh my god, sorry. That's a weird thing to be upset about, but barrel, really.